Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live chat about holiday food anxiety. It's a tough topic, and I want you to think to yourself what generally happens when I go to the Thanksgiving dinner, right? How have I behaved in the past, and what is it that I really want to change, right? Because I think that the first step towards actually seeing success around these holidays is that awareness, right? So if you're not familiar, I'm Jill Ortiz from JillOrtizFitness.com, and I am excited to share with you my top 5 tips on how to avoid holiday food anxiety. One thing that I want to mention though is that this might not happen overnight, right? So I've been working on this intentionally for 7 years now, and I can tell you that my first of these last 7 Thanksgivings, I knew I wanted to change, and I went in with a plan, and I still struggled to execute that plan. It's not always easy, but like I said, awareness is the first thing, and the more you practice, the more it gets easier. You know, like anything, getting in control of your fitness and nutrition and getting closer to your goals, it takes practice and it takes coaching. It's like all other things that we want to master, okay? So let's talk about these things. And if you feel that you could use a call with me to kind of figure out what are the things that are holding you back and where you could kind of work on those frameworks in your mind, or the habits that you've created over time, and where we can start kind of reversing out of those things, so that we start on that path to making you stronger at holidays and in general with food and fitness, then just book that call with me. I'm happy to do that with you, okay? So, number 1, try to healthify your recipes, right? Have you ever said, or heard somebody say out of sight, out of mind, or if you don't have control over a certain food, don't bring it in your house? It's kind of the same concept. I know that we have this idea of tradition when it comes to Thanksgiving, but it's also exciting sometimes to see a new twist on a dish. So perhaps you make the normal stuffing for those who want to have it, and perhaps you try a new version. One thing that I love to do, it's something that I made up maybe a year ago or 2, is to shave up Brussels sprouts and add them in a pan and add maybe a little bit of ground turkey, or if you want to, some turkey bacon or something to get those flavors, right? Add some craisins, add all the exciting stuff, maybe add a little bit of cabbage if you like, and then add your breadcrumbs, right? Maybe some Italian breadcrumbs or some seasoned breadcrumbs at the end as a sprinkling, so that the base of your stuffing becomes a vegetable, right? And you still have that bready feeling, and you still have all the tastes and the flavors of Thanksgiving, but you get to have it be a much healthier, not a bread-based dish, but something else. And perhaps you take a small scoop of your regular stuffing and then a larger scoop of your new healthified type of stuffing. So we can look at all of our different dishes at Thanksgiving, and we can do the same. Cauliflower mash instead of potato mash. We can do some different things. We can do roasted sweet potatoes instead of the sweet potato casserole. And there's so many other things that we can do, right? Maybe using cranberry sauce as your sauce instead of a gravy, right? A fat-based gravy, or maybe creating a new fresh cranberry sauce or salsa instead of that jellied stuff that comes in a can that I know my dad really likes, but once a year is okay, right? And so that's number 1, is healthify your recipes. Number 2, we know that in any facet of our life, making a plan is not even half the battle. It's the whole battle, right? And even sometimes the best laid out plans aren't always carried through completely, but you're still going to do better with a plan than without a plan. So plan on what you can say yes to and what you can enjoy. I'm not telling you have to cut out all the wine and alcohol at the meal, but choose. What are you planning to enjoy, and what are you planning to pass on? I know I'd take the glass of wine, and I might pass on the mashed potatoes. I might plan on the cranberry sauce, but pass on 2 servings of stuffing. You have to evaluate, what are you willing to pass on in order to have other things, right? We can't just say, yes, we're going to eat everything because it's really not in line with why you're here, because that's what's creating that anxiety later. So being prepared, right? In our schedules, in our work, in our lives, with our kids' schedules, having a plan and knowing what's happening always cuts down on anxiety, okay? So same thing with showing up to that meal. Know what your plan is, what you plan to enjoy, and what you plan to pass on. The next thing is to know your overall goals, right? What is important to you? And is it important to you that you are trying to establish a healthier relationship with food, right? Are you trying to establish and create a body that you're more comfortable with? You have to recognize your goals and you have to live in line with those goals. We know it's very hard to be a person and to act like the person that we're not, right? It's hard to deny your true self. And you're always happiest and most comfortable and more stress-free when you're living in your true essence. So is your true essence somebody who overeats and binges and starves and is uncomfortable carrying themselves around? Or are you really wanting to be the person who feels comfortable, confident, energized, and feels like they're living in the body they're meant to live in, right? So we need to stay in touch with what is our objective. And if our objective is to get this healthier relationship with food, then we're never looking to binge. No matter what holiday it is, we need to still keep in mind we can taste without binging. We can taste without going overboard. And it's the perfect time to be focused on that relationship, right? What's the better time than the time that's going to be a challenge, right? So, okay. So know your overall goals. The next one is to feed yourself emotionally, right? Some of us come into the holidays with anxieties that aren't food, but then it manifests in the food because sometimes we are shy and we're introverted. And when we go to a big Thanksgiving celebration, we start to feel uncomfortable and we start to retreat back and maybe we'll stand by the food table so we don't have to talk to a ton of people. Or maybe we see people who we're uncomfortable with, right? And I've had that happen too. And therefore, again, we separate ourselves or we emotionally feed ourselves with food, right? And so we need to help ourselves by arriving at this holiday full of that emotional satiation, right? And feel at ease. And so what are the things that you can do to feed yourself emotionally? Is it take time that day to meditate? Is it take time that day to relax and take a warm shower and do a yoga class? Is it a good week that you get a massage, that you treat yourself to a manicure or a pedicure? What are the things that really relax you? Is it pampering yourself, right? Is it spending time outdoors? Taking a walk can be a really, really great stress reliever. So let's emotionally invest in our personal self-care during that week and show ourselves that love so that we can show up in our best space to this situation where we might otherwise have a lot of anxiety, right? Okay. And then the last tip is to keep doing the things that you know help you, right? So one of the things that I know makes me feel the best is when I work out every day, right? Even if I don't have a lot of time to, if I know I have something coming up, even that morning, I always work out in the early mornings at around 7 a.m. before anything else can get in my way. But if I had something like my golf league used to be at 8 and I'd have to leave the house at 7:30, I got up a little earlier. I did a shorter workout. I did a workout that I wouldn't sweat in, right? Some yoga, 10-minute yoga. I still did that thing knowing that it always sets me up for the best day, right? And so if you're also used to having meals every few hours, eating a lot of vegetables, right? Don't starve yourself on Thanksgiving saying, well, I'm going to eat a lot of calories later, so I'm going to not eat today. because we know that that's not our best way to energize our body and fuel our body. So keep doing the things that you normally do. Drink plenty of water, even if you're busy making that meal. Make those things a priority that have always been the priority to make you feel good, right? Continue to do those things. And to do the things that you know don't make you feel good, right? Recognize those too. Do you feel good when you eat just the right amount of food? Do you feel your best the next day when you hop on the scale or just waking up and seeing yourself in the mirror and getting dressed? And then how do you feel when you binge? When you have a night when you drink way too much? When you have a day when you skip your workout? When you have a day when you eat so much that you're so uncomfortable the next day that you just want to keep eating that way? Know your habits. Know what makes you feel good and know what makes you feel not so good. And be smart about your choices, okay? So just to run down, Healthify some of your recipes, plan to enjoy and plan to pass, know your overall goals, feed yourself emotionally, and do the things that you know help you, okay? I hope this helps you. If you need to get started because you don't even know what to do, again, you can always call me. I can always make time for you to have a little road mapping session to figure out what's been holding you back and what's going to help you with a solid plan moving forward. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later.